Okay, the next function we're going to implement is filter map. Filter map is a lot like filter, except that it also lets you map at the same time. So instead of handing it a predicate function, we're going to give it a function that can return an optionally mapped thing. So this option type is either none, which sort of represents nil, or it could return a sum variant which contains some piece of data, and that piece of data is going to be of type tick B here. All right, so if we say it's going to need to be recursive, filter map, we have this function f. It's going to take in some value of type A, and it's going to return an option of type B. So it could change the type of the sequence. Importantly, the return type of this function is going to be a sequence of B's. It's not going to be a sequence of optional B's. We're going to sort of remove all the none cases from this sequence. So it's just going to be a flat sequence of B's. Okay, and we also need our sequence, which is type T of A. All right, so we're going to need our switch. We need to call this function that we're given, the sequence, the function that gives us the next value of the sequence. And then we have a case where we might get nil, in which case, again, there's not much we can do. So let's just return not nil, but empty. And then in the other case, where there's a cons, when we have an x and some other values, we actually need to switch on f of x. Let me remove these semicolons. Okay, so we're going to switch on f of x. So f, remember, returns an optional value. So we need to say if there's none here, then we need to not include this x in the resulting sequence. So in that case, we sort of just forget about x and move on. We need to filter map using f on the rest. Okay, so we've completely dropped x. But if this function returns some y value, and this y is going to be of type tick B, if we get something back, we need to sort of just include that in the list, and it's going to look a lot like our filter case up here. So, for each of these, we're returning a function, of course, because sequence is a function. So we need to return cons of y, and then we need to filter map the rest. So just like that. Let's see. All right, that type checks. Great. Okay, so I think filter map is a little bit confusing if you've never seen it before, so I just want to show the unit tests that I'm using to actually test the filter map function. So I have this value seek, which is defined up at the top of the file. Effectively, it's a sequence 1, 2, 3, and then nil. So it's like the list 1, 2, 3. And we're going to sort of shove this into the filter map function, and we're going to be filtering with f, and then at the end we return it into a list again, and we ensure that it equals this. So the actual f function that we're defining takes in some x. This is just a random test function. So I just say, is the value of x 2? If it is, return none. So that's sort of like filtering, but where the filter is false on 2. And if it isn't 2, then actually, what would be better here is if I said, let's do like 3 times x, return sum of 3 times x. And then, so this, instead of 1 would be 3, and instead of 3 would be 9 here. So the list 1, 2, 3, or the sequence 1, 2, 3 turns into the sequence 3, 9. So that's what filter map does. It sort of allows you to map and filter at the same time and collapses all those optional things down into a flat list at the end.